I just realized that neither of us introduced ourselves.
Yeah.
So I'm
Ian, I'm the current co-president.
Yeah, so first off, we'd just like to kind of recognize the team that put together this event. So raise your hand if you're part of the
Friends of
panel
MSF
team.
of UBC, please. Yeah, so just want to acknowledge everybody that's really put in the hard work and effort for today's event. And I'd like to also acknowledge that we are on the traditional, ancestral and unceded territory of the Musqueam people, just so that we have that in mind. So yeah, today we have an evening until about 7 p.m. of a really great panel discussion ready for you. We're going to go through some introductions about MSF and NGDI and what they do, and then afterwards, Rebecca, who is our moderator for today, she will introduce the panelists and we can get things going.
Yeah, so for you, those of you that don't know, this event is kind of a collaboration between Friends of MSF and the Neglected Global Diseases Initiative. And I'll start with breaking down what MSF is. So just really briefly, they're a nonprofit humanitarian organization that's really committed to universal medical ethics. So the three ones that we kind of highlighted are the fact that they're an independent organization, they're neutral, so they don't take any sides in conflict, and they're impartial. So again, they help anybody regardless of their background. They're there to provide support regardless of who you are. Now, I guess, what does Friends of MSF do? Because we obviously don't go into those conflict zones and provide medical care directly. But as a club, Friends of MSF, we focus on three things as well. We focus on educating, so both ourselves and the rest of campus about MSF's efforts. We do advocacy events, so that's one of the events right now. So this is kind of how we do advocacy. And we also do fundraising, so a lot of our events try and build off of those three pillars. And I guess I'll introduce NGDI as well. I mean, I'm not a part of NGDI, so maybe one of you guys could say it better, but this is off their website. So NGDI stands for the Neglected Global Diseases Initiative, and it's an initiative at UBC aimed to effectively impact neglected disease research outcomes. So the aim is to bring together the technical expertise and perspective of a variety of disciplines to investigate innovative and effective ways of identifying and overcoming barriers to the successful generation of affordable, life-sustaining medicines for developing countries. So that was quite a mouthful, but I'm sure we'll learn a lot more about NGDI throughout the night. I guess let's move into what we're here for, the panel. So Rebecca here, the moderator, is going to introduce the format of the panel, and I guess start us off with a couple of questions to get us going.
Okay, so before we get started, I just want to introduce how we're going to be doing our question and answer throughout the panel. So if you guys all have your phones or laptops with you, could you try logging into this website? It's www.sli.do. Once you guys get onto that site, there'll be a place to put in a code, and the code for this event is Y310. Are you guys able to access the event? Okay, so you'll be able to type in questions there, and those will appear to our moderator, and she'll be able to filter through and decide which ones to ask. So if you have any questions throughout the panel, feel free to submit your questions at any time.
And I think we might have a free-for-all question series as well. So if your question doesn't get answered, there's probably going to be an opportunity later as well.
Okay, great. Thank you, Andrew and Vivian. So I'm Rebecca Goulding, and I've had the privilege actually to work with NGDI and MSF because when NGDI was forming, I was working with Universities Allied for Essential Medicines, after which I sort of rejoined the MSF Vancouver group, actually. And around that time, NGDI was forming with Dr. Kishore Wasan, and has gone from strength to strength. So it's very, very interesting for me to be at this event moderating. So yeah, as I think it was Vivian or Andrew who said, that I am part of the Vancouver Association for MSF Canada. Actually, we're sort of the Western Region Association. There are many associations across Canada for MSF. Actually currently work in the area of treatment evaluation. So I'm not at UBC, and it is a real treat to come up here this evening, actually, in the sun. Finally, the sun. Driving into the sun wasn't so bad because it was the sun. So, and happy to see not so much snow up here, which is really good.